Hello. Today we're going to derive the quadratic formula. Now, I believe that no student should accept anything their teacher tells you, including myself. Never believe anything your math teacher tells you. Think they're wrong all the time. Go home, prove it. Make sure they're right. That way you really understand it. So, if you have a quadratic equation, ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. Let's figure out why it's the case that x is equal to negative b plus or minus c squared minus 4ac, this whole mess, over 2a. Maybe your teacher's been wrong all this time. Maybe your textbooks are wrong. Let's prove it. The way you prove it is one way is by completing the square. First, I'll take away c from both sides. So I get ax squared plus bx is equal to negative c. Then I divide by a. Divide every term by a. And I'll get x squared plus b over ax is equal to negative c over a. Now, I want this to ultimately be something squared, like x plus, since I use a, b's, and c's, let me use r. I want it to be x plus r squared, which means it's x squared plus 2rx plus r squared. So now, I have the x squared. I have the x squared. And I guess that's going to be my 2r, because it's being multiplied by x. So basically, I want to know how I go from here to adding r squared. The answer is pretty obvious, I hope, because r squared is r all squared. If you have 2r, and then you divide it by 2, it all comes together, because what's in that bracket is r. And when you square it, you get r squared. And just for the record, another way of dividing by 2, which is the same, 2 is the same as 2 over 1, is multiplying by the reciprocal. You take half of the b term, you take half of the b term, and you square it, and then you get r squared. Okay, so now we know the rule. I'm going to take half of b over a, and I'm going to square it. But before I square something, it'll be good to know what I'm squaring. 1 times b is b, 2 times a in the bottom is 2a. And when you square the b, you get b squared. And when you square 2a, it's the same as squaring 2 multiplied by squaring 8. That's what I want to add inside here. So that becomes a perfect square. So it's going to be x squared plus b over ax. And then out of nowhere, I add b squared over 4a squared, which is half of that squared. So we're no longer equals to negative c over a. We have to add the b squared over 4a squared to both sides. So I have b squared over 4a squared. Now, so this is equal to this. Well, how do you get there? Well, first I write a bracket, then I write down x, then I put a plus, and then I write down r. Oh my, where do I get r from? It's half of what x is being multiplied by. It's half of that. It's this. It's that. B over 2a. And this squared is equal to this mess. Now, to get the same denominator, I need to multiply this by a. That gives me the a squared, and I have to multiply by 4. But I just can't do that. I have to do the same to the top to get 4a, which I'm going to write as 4ac. So, since the bottom or the denominators are the same, I can just subtract the numerators. It's b squared minus 4ac. Okay. Now, I take the square root of both sides. And in actuality, both sides get plus or minus. But it's just enough to put it on one side. Argue through that. Because if this is a plus and this is a plus, well then you can just leave it as plus. If this is a plus and this side's a minus, you can leave it as a minus. If this side's a minus and this side's a plus, you can let me write it neatly. You can multiply both sides by a -1, and this will become plus and this will become minus, so you keep the minus. If they're both negative, multiply both sides by -1 and then use the positive. Okay, if you follow that, excellent. If not, work it out. Figure out why it doesn't matter that you don't put plus minus on both sides. But when people tell you, you just have to put the plus minus on one side, they're not telling you the full story. Okay, so in any case, this and this kind of cancel, and you get x plus b over 2a is equal to plus minus the square root of the top. I don't know what it is. But I know the square root of 2a squared is plus minus 2a. And again, if you have plus minus here and plus minus here, fit this 4 options. I'm going to go through it carefully. So let me put this in a different color. Plus minus. You can use plus from in front, and you can use minus from the bottom. Well, let me start off with plus. Or you can use plus in the bottom. So you get plus. Or you can use plus from the top and negative from the bottom. And you get negative. Or you can use negative from the top and plus from the bottom, and you'll get an overall negative. Or they can both be negative. Negative, that's a positive. You can use negative for the top, negative from the bottom, and you will get a positive. So either way, you get positive or negative. So I already have that. It's in front. Okay, one last step. I don't want to know what x plus b over 2a equals. I just want to know what x equals. So let me just write down what we have right now. X plus b over 2a is equal to plus or minus the square root of this all over 2a. So I'm going to take away b over 2a from both sides. And on the left side, I just end up with x. The nice thing is, the right side, both of my fractions have are 2a. So I'm going to do the bottom plus the top. So it's the bottom negative b plus the top. B squared minus 4ac. And here is your quadratic formula, and that completes the proof. Now, when somebody tells you this is the quadratic formula on the bottom right, you're like, yep, I know it is. I can prove it. Stop accepting things. Okay? You prove everything or understand everything, then you will really be learning mathematics. As always, if you like math like this, true understanding type math, subscribe to my channel, tell your friends about it, and leave comments below. As always, have a great day. Bye.